Let's bring in Fox and Friends co-host Brian Kilmeade. Brian, good morning to you. Thank you so much for hopping on set with us. This isn't the first time you've covered the passing of a pope, so what are your reflections right now?
I mean, John Paul II was the most titanic. I mean, this guy was iconic. He was the first to travel. He added so much personality in life, combined to take down communism. You talk about a guy that transcended politics and the papacy. I think it was him. And then the extraordinary moment when Pope Benedict says, hey, I'm alive, I'm okay, but I think it's time for me to step aside. And when he steps aside, you think about how conservative he was and how traditional he was. He was the biblical scholar. He was the one to go back in history. He was the one to what he thought would be even less mainstream, more mainstream than Pope Paul II. But when he steps aside, he's replaced by this Pope, Pope Benedict, who really wanted to change things. He didn't like the opulence. He didn't like the gold. He didn't like the fine dining that comes along with that role. And then you think about what he was able to do and really focus what he says is on the poor. And he was a big critic of President Trump. He has been in the past. He was extremely critical of our immigration policy. He had less than a 5-minute meeting with J.D. Vance less than 24 hours ago. He thought when it comes to climate change, that was something that he really wanted to focus on, and obviously that's never been a priority here. But you can't think about anything but in the terms of a human being. He's as good as it gets. He gave his whole life for other people. He gave his sole focus to the poor. When he got to this job, he didn't use it to consolidate power. He used it to disperse it. And I was just speaking to Father Jonathan over here, and he just reminded me, too, of some of the things that he brought out was, hey, you know, when it comes to same-sex marriage, well, let's think about that. When it comes to having people get divorced and have their second marriage in church, let's consider that. And when it comes to even priests marrying, maybe that's something we should debate. There wasn't necessarily a plan how to do it, but it was, let's think about these things. But many traditional Catholics thought, including your previous guest, I'm not sure I'm not sure that's where the Catholic Church should be heading, which leads us to the next 2 weeks. We're going to decide which way the Catholic Church will head when half the College of Cardinals were appointed by this Pope.
Yes.
You wonder if they think like him.
That's right. And less than an hour ago, Vice President J.D. Vance posted on X, I just learned of the passing of Pope Francis. My heart goes out to the millions of Christians, of which he is one, all over the world who loved him. I was happy to see him yesterday, though he was obviously very ill. But I'll always remember him for this homily he gave in the very early days of COVID. It was really quite beautiful. May God rest his soul. And God certainly is doing just that. But it must be very interesting to be J.D. Vance right now and thinking I was the last public official of the level that he reached to meet Pope Francis yesterday. And at that time, during that meeting, he had no idea that we would be sitting here talking about this today.
Absolutely. And he just became a Catholic recently. So he's oftentimes, that I find just personally, anecdotally, when someone converts to Catholicism, they become the scholars. Almost like new immigrants. When they come to America, they know history better than people that were born here. So he really dove in hard on it. And of course, he gave, he's sparred with other people in the past, and he always speaks his mind. He's over in India now. But I think it's going to be very interesting over the next 2-3 weeks, because at 88 years old, after spending weeks in the hospital, where we thought this sadly was going to come to fruition earlier than this, there's sadness of his passing, but there's really billions of Catholics around the world wondering what direction are we heading. And I'm just wondering, do you go into the United States? Because now finding out the rules, and I'm reminding myself, if you're over 80 as a cardinal, you don't vote in this.
I know, there are age
It's so interesting, right?
Yeah.
Can you is it smart to put a 70-year-old in that spot, or should they be contending? Because if you talk about a personality, somebody that really understands the church and loves all people, that would transcend the position. I know I'm biased, but Cardinal Dolan, a few blocks from here,
that, yes.
I mean, he says, maybe his last time would have been the perfect time. The Benedict would have been the perfect age when Benedict got named. I'm not sure if there's bias against America with the College of Cardinals. But if anybody really wants to put a face and a personality behind the #1 religion in the world, most populous, it would be Cardinal Dolan.